Oops. Hello, everyone. This is an exciting day. As you know, generally my podcast, Coexistence, Joy, Pain, and Truth, is at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, but I have a special guest today, and I changed my schedule to accommodate her. And I'm super happy to have her here. As you can see by the cover photo, Leora Imanuel is here. We're going to talk about the joys and pains of parenting. And the truth of it all. So let me tell you guys, you guys know who I am, but Misha Safran here, joy and resilience coach. I'm an academic life coach working with middle schoolers and high schoolers and before and beyond to organize their lives and feel better about school and gain confidence. I work with the parents too, but I work with a different age group than Leora. So we're excited to have Leora here. And I also work with agencies, organizations, and others to help build wellness and joy and resilience in your staff and your employees. So let me introduce Leora. Let's just get moving on here. So Leora is the proud mom of two little humans who have shaken up her life and reshaped it in a new, surprising, and beautiful way. Doesn't every mom feel like that? She is a transformational motherhood coach who has been working on her own spiritual and personal growth for as long as she can remember. Becoming a mother was the gift that pushed Leora to fully show up unapologetically as herself. Wouldn't you all like that? In order to create the life she wanted for herself and her family. Leora is the founder of Motherhood Metamorphosis, an organization dedicated to empowering mommas to reimagine and create lives they love while being the calm, confident, loving leaders of their families. Aside from founding Motherhood Metamorphosis, Leora has been an artist, teacher, and a transformational life coach, teaching group workshops and coaching individuals. When not out in the woods with her kids, you'll find Leora growing vegetables in the community garden or cooking creatively with whatever she can find in the fridge. And I am just so delighted. I'm going to stop this share and look who's here. It's Leora. Let me unmute you so you can say hello.
I'm so excited to be here, Misha. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. I am delighted. And I was just so excited when you accepted my invitation. So thank you. So Leora, I know that we're going to talk about your event and some things that you're doing for conscious mamas. And first I want to share, actually, let me put up here, those of you who are, what's the age group? Leora, tell us about the mamas in this group.
Yeah, I would say most of the mamas in the group have preschoolers, early primary school age kids, but really I work with like from babies, I would say until like preteens, I would say was my max.
All right, that's where I take up after that. I'm
Good
just
thing they have
the
you.
end of the tweens into the teens and then beyond. So this is a great team up here. So if you are a mama of preschoolers or the younger tweens, pre-tweens and tweens, and you want some support, Leora has a private Facebook group called Conscious Mama Tribe. And that's one word, Mama Tribe. So look for that Facebook group and join it because Leora has a lot of great information. But let's go now to talk, Leora, about who you are and the joys and pains. Like, well, let's start with it's a coexistence. So that's the topic of my talk is coexistence, joy, pain, and truth. So what would you say for you, and not with your mamas, not with raising kids, just for you in your own life? Maybe name one pain and if you got any kind of joy because of that experience. I know this is on the spot. I don't usually give questions to my panelists before they come in. So take your time, share whatever you feel like you need to share. We can breathe and wait for that answer to come. But I'll ask it again. What experience might have been painful that you found some joy through or after?
What's coming to me right now, because this is really, what I've been going through this past year, and you definitely are putting me on the spot, is going through a divorce. And it's been super painful to let go of more like the idea of what I thought my perfect family would look like, I think was the hardest part. And I'm finding so much freedom and so much joy in living the life that I want to live, and that's right for me. So
that is
definitely
beautiful.
both.
Yeah. It's funny. I've never asked the question in that way. So that's the first. And you answered it so beautifully and authentically. And what my mind went to, because you mentioned preschoolers and little ones, was, birth.
Yes, yes, yes,
I went through
totally.
3 of those. It hurts. And oh, how cute. It's like if you ever wonder if your mother is crazy in that moment, yes, you go from extreme pain to, oh, what a delight. And what pain? I don't remember any pain.
Yeah, the fact that you did it 2 more times, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, and for anybody who is going through, divorce, it is hard, even if you feel like it is the truest
Hmm.
part of who you are and what you need to do in your life. It is hard. And, some people might say, well, you chose that, don't complain about it. But the reality is, we all need to process our grief, right? And if we don't process our grief, we can't get to that joy. So, regardless if it's
Absolutely.
a decision you make for yourself or someone else made for you, we get to feel it and not discount it, dismiss it, negate it.
Yeah, that's exactly like what I was thinking about in motherhood in general when I started thinking about your whole topic about joy and pain coexisting. Is that we have to feel the hard stuff in order to feel the good stuff in motherhood. I mean, it's true in all of our life, right? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what would you say when thinking now about motherhood? What would you say are some painful experiences that mamas are going through right now?
well, I think, but before talking about like specific experiences, I would hone in
Mhm.
more on like exactly what you just mentioned
Mm.
is that there's loss in motherhood, and I think that's what people aren't talking about. And I think that
Mhm.
when we go into motherhood thinking like, oh, it's just going to be a bundle of joy, like that's the kind of cultural conversation. You're just going to have this new, wonderful, lovely experience. Then
Mhm.
when the shit hits the fan, when things are really hard, then it almost like there's this dissonance. Like you feel like you're not allowed to
Absolutely.
have the pain. You're not allowed to have a hard experience.
Mhm.
So what
So,
I'm,
what are some of those losses? Go ahead. I
yeah,
mean, because I
absolutely.
remember my physical body shape.
Yes.
Oh, I was 100 pounds and skinny and curvy, and it was like all of a sudden I was curvy in a lot of different places.
Yeah, so totally. I think the first one is the loss of your body. Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Like, and again, I keep coming back to like the cultural conversation versus like the reality. Like the conversation is you're going to get back to your body, and that's just not truth. Like you're never going to go back to the body you had before having a baby. A human grow inside your body. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Loss of identity, I think, is a big one. Like especially if you are a career woman and if you put your career on hold or if you are just balancing between career and family, I think loss of like, who am I now?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
and even loss of self, like if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you've poured yourself into motherhood and
mhm.
that's the only thing you're doing and you've kind of put everything else on hold, I think it comes up from a lot of moms is like, who am I? Like, if am I
Mhm.
just a mom? I think
Right.
there's loss of intimacy and connection in
Mhm,
relationship, loss of time, loss of freedom, like so many things that we lose, and those are not the
mhm.
conversations that people are having. And when we fail to acknowledge those losses, then I think women start to feel like something's wrong with them when they struggle with those losses.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think there's another piece of this, correct me if you think I'm wrong, or I mean, I don't know that there's any right or wrong, but the other piece of this is that if we talk about those things, those losses, or complain about those losses, or even just spend a few moments with those losses, then it's perceived as we're not enjoying being mothers, that we're not
Yeah,
happy being mothers, that having these children in our life is actually a curse, not a blessing. And that is so not my experience. What do you say to that?
totally. I think that that's what's so hard for moms is that they feel like they're not allowed to be honest and to say those things because it's like they're, like you said, like they're um, kind of not valuing what they have, not valuing being a mother and their children and the gift that they got. And also I think that there's this expectation, especially if we look on social media, people are showing pictures of like, how beautiful they are and their beautiful baby and their beautiful life and their beautiful smiling vacation with their family. And so when you're scrolling on social media and you see all that, but then you feel unhappy or lost or disconnected, it's like even more makes people feel like they can't have an honest conversation. They're not allowed to feel what they're feeling. And
Yeah.
so um and so we continue to kind of stuff those emotions down. Like I remember a moment in my own life when when I like, it was like the first time I think that I was really aware that that I wasn't allowed to have all these feelings. It was
Mm.
like, I would say 3 months after my first child. And I was sitting on the couch nursing him. And it was like this peaceful, calm moment. After I'd had a really hard birth and we had a week in the NICU and a really hard, the first 2 months of his life were like horrible and terrible. And we'd kind of overcome that, gotten through all that. And I was sitting there and all of a sudden I was just like overcome with so much anger. And I felt really angry that like my friends who had kids before me had never told me how hard it was. And that was the first time I
Mm.
remember feeling like, um, it's so hard and nobody's talking about it. And I was really angry about it. But then I just kept on going. And I think that's what people do. We just keep stuffing it down and not talking about it because nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. You made me remember. So I am a doula. I don't do it anymore, but I used to work with the regional hospital where I lived as a volunteer doula. And one of the things that I learned from my mentor, Debbie Levine, was well, she sometimes, I think it's Lavin now. She's going to be watching this going, Misha, you don't know how to say my name? Anyways, so is that when a woman says, and she's in a contraction, it hurts, we don't say, no, 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 it's okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. We say, yeah, it fucking hurts. You're right. You are
Yeah.
so right. It hurts, and go with them, with the pain. And I
Yeah.
remember because she was my birth coach and doula, my very first baby. And people could have told me however many times they wanted that it hurt, but you don't know till you know. So even if your friends had told you it was difficult, you don't know the same difficulties. There are differences in them, right? So, or we might not have been ready to hear that it's difficult. And no, it's
Absolutely.
going to be beautiful and blossomy, and lots of flowers and and fairy tales. But this point of sharing with these women in birth that they are in pain, and it is true, it is a real experience, was
Yeah.
so critical, not only to their well-being, but to our connection and to everyone's peace of mind. Because then they're not flipping off the handle like "fuck you,"
Yeah.
excuse our language, everybody. But yeah, so you didn't feel prepared for the difficulties, and as cultures tells us, but we move on. As opposed to what I think you're doing and what I do is helping people move through, not move on, but move through, right?
Exactly. And what you're saying about, telling a woman when she's in a contraction, like, yeah, it hurts, is like giving her permission to just be in the hurt. Like that's okay. And that's what I do with the women who work with me is help them allow themselves to have hard emotions and to move through them and heal them and not continue to stuff them down.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, those are a lot of losses. We talked about identity, we talked about physical appearance, we talked about independence, routine, right?
Yeah.
You're a career woman and then you become a career woman mom. And it's like, oh, there's this balance and not being that type A perfectionistic showing up on time everywhere because your baby's gonna, there's a reason why we're late. And we can blame our babies. I mean, it's not their fault, it's our timing and trying to readjust, but it's difficult, right? So with the pain of those losses, where where does that lead us to motherhood and how you work with moms to walk through that pain?
Yeah, I mean, when I find my clients come to me, usually they've been kind of stuffing down a lot of this pain for years and years and years. And what happens is, I think that when we stuff down those hard emotions and we don't allow ourselves, like we were talking about, to feel the pain, to feel sad, to feel grief over like who we used to be, to feel angry that we are not in control, like you can't be that type A personality. I mean, maybe there are some women who are succeeding in it, but my guess is that it's leading to a lot of anxiety. Um, so what happens is we stuff down those emotions. It leads to overwhelm. It leads to anxiety. It leads to feeling disconnected, and then I think it just leads to like not feeling really passionate and like you're really living your life, feeling like you don't have energy, you don't have vitality, you don't have passion.
Right.
So I feel like I lost my train of thought in terms of your answering your question.
No, that was great because as you help them work through that, that's when they can start to really get clear and be present in joy,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, I mean, what I do is I hold their hand and walk them through that process of noticing, like, what in your day to day life is triggering you? Like, what is getting you so freaking mad? When are you blowing your top? And when we peel back the layers on that, then they come to like a root of like, oh, this is what I actually need. This is what I actually want. This is what I actually feel. And
Yeah.
it's really healing from that level so that, it's less about like finding these band-aid solutions of like, I'm going to give you the script that you're going to say so you can stay calm when your kid tantrums. And those scripts can be
Mhm.
helpful. But if you
Sure.
don't do the work on yourself of why it's triggering you in the first place, then it's going to trigger you again next time and next time and next time. So it's really getting to
Absolutely.
the root so that you can access the presence and the connection and the joy, like you were talking about. Because I love Brene Brown. Do you love Brene Brown, Misha? I'm sure
I
you
love
do.
Brene Brown. I love
So
Brene Brown. I love Tara Brach.
I'm sure we listen to all the same podcasts.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brene Brown, she teaches us that you can't numb selectively, right? You can't numb the hard stuff and not also be numbing the fun stuff, the joy, the
Right.
excitement, the passion. And so what I want to help moms do is allow themselves to have some of the hard feelings so that
Mhm.
then they can get really intentional about how they show up and create lives of ease and joy and connection with their kids. Because I believe you get to have that. I don't think, motherhood is just hard and you just have
Right.
to deal with it and you just have to get through it. I
Right.
think that it's allowing the pain that lets us access the joy.
Absolutely. And you know what's beautiful is you are an expert in present time because you have young children. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that so you're remembering because you're in it, right? And so this is why it's so perfect for people to come to you who have these young children. And what's funny about that is my children are all grown up, but my youngest is 21, and I'm very close to having had teens. So that's why my parents are like, yeah, we need to work with you. I raised 5 kids. They know I've been a teacher for 30 years, middle school, high school. So it's like, yeah, let's talk to her about how we do exactly what you just talked about, Leora.
Yes.
But now they're having to deal with what are the triggers and issues around the teenage years, which everybody knows is similar to terrible twos. Right? Except for there's more attitude, a lot more
Yes.
attitude.
And you can't
Um,
just pick them up and put them somewhere.
yeah, right, exactly. Time out in the crib. Bye. Not that the elementary school kids are in cribs, but yeah. So what you're saying though is that yeah, there are going to be times when, as a mother, we're experiencing these triggers, and so we can't really. It's not really the kid at that point. If we're being triggered, it's us, right?
Yeah,
And we have some work to do so that then if it becomes the kid doing repeated actions, the more we work on ourselves and how to deal with our trigger so we're acting, not reacting, then we
absolutely.
get to work with the children to figure out what their stuff is. So
Totally.
people, it's like the oxygen mask, right? On a plane, put on your oxygen mask before you put on the oxygen mask of another, which means solve your problems before you can even try to solve somebody else's or help them solve their problems.
Yeah. So I would add to that I believe that as the mother in the family, like you're really the foundation for what's going on. And so
Absolutely.
so healing yourself and figuring out what's triggering you and what you need to change so that you can show up calm, so that you can show up confident, so that you can show up and instead of like working out um, your own trauma or trigger on your kid, and that's what a reaction is, right? It's like this is
Yeah.
triggering me and it's triggering something from my past, something from my childhood. And so this is what I need to happen so that I can feel okay. When you
Right.
do that work on yourself, then you can actually hold space for your kid and their big emotions and what they're going through and not try to work your stuff out through the interaction with them. And
Mhm.
I think that we all want to be there for our kids, but we're not able to even see what they really need when we haven't looked first to see what we need to be stable and to feel good and to be able to respond with intention. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as much as we like to think we know what another person is experiencing, especially our children, we really can't. So I gave this example the other day. I don't remember if it was in one of the interviews, but I remember when I don't know if it was when I was young or when my kids were young, and somebody said, "I'm hungry," and the response was, "You can't be hungry. You just ate an hour ago." But we don't know, maybe I'm not hungry anymore. So therefore you can't be hungry. That does not work.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Likewise, when I was at the hospital the other day, I heard a nurse tell somebody, that doesn't hurt. I've done this many times and it's never hurt me. And the patient's like, this hurts. This
Yeah,
really does hurt me. Right. And so being aware and identifying that my experience is different than your experience. I have a lot of experience, and so does somebody else. But when you, Leora, tell me this is hard, I need to be present for you feeling like this experience is hard
absolutely.
and help
Yeah.
you walk through it so that you can get to the other side and then go, woo, I'm a warrior. I did it.
Yeah, and
Right?
I think that's what that's what a lot of mothers want to be able to do for their kids, except that they're so triggered that they're not able to be there for their kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that
Absolutely.
story you shared.
Thank you. So, okay, so here we are. We have like 9 minutes left. I would love to know about you. What are the things? Well, first of all, have you always been a joyful person? Have you always had access to your joy place?
I was actually depressed for most of my teenage years. I would say, I mean, I got diagnosed with an illness at age 13, and from there, depressed until like, I don't know, my mid 20s. And
Mhm.
so a lot of depression. And I think that then when I started doing a lot of work on myself and I started learning about getting intentional and, you know, setting intentions and all these kind of things, I think that I kind of it was like spiritual bypassing, like kind of was like, oh, all is well. There's always a lesson. There's always a diamond you know, there's always
Mhm.
something good, and kind of didn't make room for the hard stuff. And then in motherhood, it really has brought me to, okay, both can coexist. Like I can have hard times, I can have hard emotions, I can have struggles and be joyful, and I can move through and into joy. And so it's been way more authentic and way more like, yeah, not sinking into depression, but allowing the hard stuff and then being able to access joy with ease. So,
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah. I have mild depression and anxiety, and I've been diagnosed with that for a long, long, long time. And it's definitely the more I've allowed myself to feel what I need to feel, but also know what my tools and people are, team are in my life, the easier it is to get back to feeling that joy.
mhm.
And this is why I became a joy and resilience coach, because it takes a lot of resilience sometimes to get to that joyful place, right? Yeah. So good for you for being able to walk through that and face it, and really kind of have it look at you straight in the face. It's not easy, and I always appreciate when my guests talk about true life experiences, especially when they have normally been elephants in the room, right? Like depression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when one of my guests shared about her suicidal attempts and suicidal ideation. And it's really, you know, and having so much gratitude that that didn't work, and being alive and being able to witness herself and her growth now, their growth now. So it's interesting. So when you look at today, what are the things that bring you tremendous, like all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm overtaken by joy, like there's a sense of awe? Because I know for me, when I'm in nature or when my kid makes a joke that is just totally perfect, I mean, it's like, wow, I feel like this amazing feeling inside my whole body. It's like, oh, this is beautiful. What about you?
Yeah, I would say definitely like there are moments in nature that bring me so much joy. I would say right now, what's bringing me the most joy is just these perfect moments of ease. It's usually like when I'm outside in the sunshine and my kids are kind of entertaining themselves, or like a moment of fun with them, when there's flow and it just things don't feel hard, and it's just been increasing and increasing, which is like I think I've been working the past, I'd say 3-4 years on increasing the ease in my life, and I just am finding more and more moments, and I'm just like sinking into them and being like, this is it, this is it.
Mhm. Yeah, and the more work you do, the easier it gets, right? There's a cartoon when I was a teacher that used to go around, and it was this little kid talking to a friend and said, I don't get my teacher. She's really tricky. When I don't study, she gives me like this really hard test. And when I study, she gives me like the easiest test ever. right?
Yes,
So it's
that's
about
totally it.
doing the it's about doing the work so it's not so hard.
Totally.
And we can work smart. We don't have to work hard. So I know you have a really cool gift for everybody. These mama mantras, right? So everybody watching and listening, do you want free printable mama mantras? And I typed in here, of course you do. Who doesn't? What are these mama? Can you give an example? I know they need to, I'll give them the link, and those of you who are
Yeah.
watching the replay and those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, the link is already in there. You can just press on the link and you can get your printable mama mantras. But give us a little hint of what they are.
Sure, I'll tell you about one. So they're all designed. I designed them. You can print them out. They're images with the words on it, and just to remind you, you can hang them up in your house or whatever you want. But a mantra is something you want to be able to pull out of your back pocket. So they're all pretty simple. And so one that I really like is I'm a blessing to my family, and my family is a blessing to me. And just, when things feel hard, when it's like, when your kid is doing that thing that just pisses you off, or when you feel like you've messed up and you're not doing it right and you're not a good enough mom, just reminding yourself that you're part of a larger picture, that you're really a blessing and a gift to your kids, that you're the exact mom that they need, and that they're a
Yeah.
blessing to you. So reminding yourself
Yeah.
of that in those hard moments.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I'll show you all the link, but you'll be able to click on it in the chat. If you are listening to this and you cannot read the chat or there's some visual impairment, it's https:// www.leoraemanuel.com, and that's spelled LeoraImanuel.com / momma dash mantras mantras dash landing dash page. And again, it's in the link. So if somebody needs help getting that, you can certainly ask, and I'm happy to support you. Or maybe somebody in the chat can help you as well. And now I just want to end with having you share, because you've got a 5-day training coming up. And did you say it's free?
It is free, yes.
It's free. Okay. So
Yeah, I
tell
have
us about your free training.
So I have a free 5-day training coming up called End Overwhelm, Increase Ease with 5 simple keys. And it's happening in my Facebook group, Conscious Mama Tribe, which I think you gave the link at the beginning of our talk. And it's coming up really quick. It's coming up a week from Saturday, May. So it's going to be May 8th through May 12th, every evening at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. So it's the week of Mother's
Awesome.
Day. So I wanted to let mamas give themselves the gift of ending overwhelm and increasing ease so that you can have a more joyful and connected family.
That is so fabulous. And I'm going to be there, because even though
Yes,
I'm a mom
so
of older
exciting.
people, I want to be supportive. And also, I'm sure you can teach me a few things.
Yeah, I can tell you like a couple points of what we're going to be talking about. Do we have time for that?
Yeah. Yeah. We have 2 full minutes. That's a lot of
Okay,
time.
awesome. So we're going to be going over some common limiting beliefs that are keeping mamas stuck in overwhelm. So 3 common limiting beliefs, and we're going to break them down and learn how to overcome those beliefs so that they don't keep you stuck in that overwhelm mindset. I'm going to be teaching the most effective strategy for cultivating ease in your home. And I'll be giving you my secret to creating habits of love and respect within your family, because a lot of times it's the dynamics that contribute to the overwhelm. And you're going to learn to let in support so that you stop feeling so alone, because a lot of the overwhelm comes from feelings of isolation and loneliness. So those are some of the
Absolutely.
things we'll be touching on, and each day will be contributing to you being able to end overwhelm and increase ease in your own home.
That is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So everybody, if you're interested, you'll have the link. We'll send you let me actually, you know what? I'll put it in the post, because we are running out of time. And I don't know if you guys can actually, well, let me see if I can do this. I'm going to put it in for y'all to see. And
I can read it out as you put it in.
yeah, go right ahead.
It's https://www.leoraemanuel.com/EO-IE-reg page.
Perfect. Wonderful. And if they sign up to be in your private Facebook group, the Conscious Mama Tribe, will that link be in the Facebook group already?
Yeah, you'll find
Okay.
posts in there to register for the
Okay.
event as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And we will also put this in the posts. I will edit the posts so that they show up. It's interesting. I've had a new saying at the end of all of my podcasts. And what you just said really, kind of landed it for me, which is working together brings peace of mind. And so people don't have to be alone. Mamas don't have to be alone. My catchphrase growing up was "I'm capable," and my brother used to tease me
Hmm.
for it until even into adulthood. And yeah, we are capable. But what's going to be to the betterment of all is that we use our team. We work together. So I hope you guys will take up Leora on her free training, join her Facebook group, get support, and if your kids are older, you can certainly come to me. I'm not pushing you away. But it's been a delight. Leora, I have to say, I've been watching you over time. You are so personable. You're authentic. You are calm. It would make total sense to me that your children are also, like you said, I'm a blessing to my family, and my family is a blessing to me. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a living example of that. I can feel it. So
I
thank
was
you
just telling my
for being
kids
with me.
yesterday that I learned from them to be more friendly and to be more outgoing and
Oh,
to interact with people like that I don't know, because they're pretty incredible. They're a huge gift.
oh, well, they get to take a lot of credit for that, and you get to also have some credit for that. So thank you. Is there one last tip you'd like to share with our audience,
A last tip.
or thought, or encouragement?
I think my last tip, you asked me first, so I'll go with last tip. I think my last tip is just to not take yourself so seriously. That you're not take yourself so seriously. Slow down, take a breath, some perspective. I think that's my
Mhm.
tip for today. Everything's
Wonderful.
going to be
Wonderful.
okay.
Fantastic. All right, everybody. We are Leora, don't go away, but we're going to end our live broadcast. If anybody has any questions, reach out to either one of us. We are both on Facebook, and you've got the Facebook group information for Leora. Have a beautiful day, and remember, y'all, it can't be a bad day if you even have one small thing that happens that brings you light. All right.
Love it.
So, thank you, everybody. Take good care.
Thank you, Misha.